Hi everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. We are the Agape'S.
Yes, hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. Yes.
If you haven't subscribed, by the way, you just want to go ahead and do that right now so that you get notified every time we release a new video, and also it helps us reach more people.
Yes, and if you have not watched our last video, oh, you're missing out. After watching this video, you could save it and check it out later.
Yep.
Okay, and don't forget to like this video.
Yes, please like this video. All right, so today we're talking about relationship red flags, meaning signs that point to danger in a relationship, or if you're considering getting into a relationship, you want to be aware of these signs before you jump into. Okay, now this is not an exhaustive list, so you would, there's still a lot more, but I just want to drop this for you to begin with, and we believe it will be helpful for you.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, so to begin with, right, before she kicks right in, want to share a thought about, relationship in general. And I want to start by saying that, it's more important to pay attention to the character patterns and not just the tangibles. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, so things like, for instance, tangibles, a phone, a car, a house, a good job, paying salary, a good business, those things are great, okay? But when you want to go into a relationship, observe the patterns of the person's character beyond the tangibles that you can see. Okay, so take for instance, a lady rather sees a guy who has a fantastic job, or maybe a very great business. He's doing well. He has offices outside the country. Excellent. In fact, she begins to picture herself in his life as Mrs. XYZ. She begins to see how they'll go on trips together. And in fact, she has already attached his surname to her name, and it's, it fits. But if she goes into a relationship based on those things, what will happen is that she may then get to discover that, well, yes, he has a good salary, but his spending pattern may be awful. Okay, he might be an impulsive spender and almost always has to borrow before the end of the month. All right, so that's a pattern that she needs to look out for. And what happened in that case is, sooner than later, the money is going to go. You know what I mean? All right, so we want to be careful to pay attention to the patterns rather than just the tangible. So I wanted to start off with that to let you know, right? So when you're looking at people you admire, or you're considering, or even if you're currently in a relationship with that person, observe the patterns. Is she, giving to temper? She doesn't take feedback, doesn't take advice, anything. Tell her, say, that's just the way I am, that's just the way I am, I cannot change. So you want to observe patterns, right, more than just tangibles.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, can we start?
Yep, we can.
We can get right into it, okay?
Yeah.
All right, then. So, one red flag that I have observed in relationships, it doesn't happen in every relationships, but some relationships get to experience this, is that the couple, for some reason, either the lady or the guy, it's not anyone specific. It could be the guy, it could be the lady. You're not able to have deep and meaningful conversations. That's a red flag. If you just have shallow conversations and there's more focus on physical intimacy, that is definitely a red flag.
Definitely a red flag.
Physical intimacy is good and reserved for marriage.
Yep.
Yes. And because once you get into physical intimacy, it begins to blind your judgment.
Very well.
It dulls creativity. In fact, there are some. In fact, I believe this is a different conversation on its own entirely, right?
Yeah.
Different conversation on its own.
Yeah.
So what happens is that I noticed that when people just get physically intimate and they are not focusing on having deep and meaningful conversations, they just can't have that good sense of judgment, and they can't really tell. I don't know, there's just something that happens that is wrong. I don't want to explain it in this video because it's very, very long, but you should have conversations around value, life's purpose,
the future, where both of you see yourselves going.
Yes, the values that you both share, your ideologies, all of those things. How both of you can help yourselves achieve your goals in life. For me, that is a better way to have a relationship when you're single. Yes,
true.
And even if you're thinking about getting into a relationship and you haven't, and you just see that maybe the person that you like is very shallow and would rather focus on being physically intimate with you rather than have meaningful conversations, then that's a red flag. I'm just going to share a little example. So back in the day, right? Yeah. So I was dating someone back in the day, and I remember, yals, excuse me. So I remember this day he came to my house, and what did I even say? So I was like, babe, let's play Ludo. In fact, I just want to play games, right? Nothing serious. I'm like, babe, let's play Ludo. And he was like, you did joke? Did I come all the way for... And I'm like, okay. Then I knew there was a problem. How can it be so difficult to just play Ludo with me? I wasn't even asking. In fact, this one I wasn't even asking for a deep, meaningful conversation. I was just asking for fun, random fun, and he wanted to be intimate. Or I would say, guy, let's go out. Let's go and watch a movie. But the hangout they want. They want that hangout
in their house,
inside the house,
in their parlor.
Just like the movie that we were watching.
Right.
Yeah, they want the hangout in the parlor, in the room. All of that. It's very unnecessary.
So yeah, actually, and what we're saying, we're not saying that every time you guys meet, you are talking deep stuff about the future. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? That's what we're talking about. What I mean is, if the person, it could either be male or female, right? If the guy or the girl if the person is avoiding meaningful conversations and all they want is they just want to be touching and hugging, and you know why that is dangerous is because, see, when you get married, you would ask any married person, you have it in excess, okay? But the things that keep people together is the things are deeper than just the surface, right? Deeper than physical touch, physical intimacy, and it has its place in marriage, right? But what keeps people together is the connection that they have, and the connection starts from having meaningful conversations where you talk about, okay, sincerely, where do you see yourself in the next couple of years? Okay, let's not, maybe 2 years. What do you plan to do? What are your dreams? What are your aspirations? Right? So we see how we fit together in each other's lives. Okay, so a red flag is when someone avoids having meaningful conversation and just wants to be physically intimate. And let me say this, because I think the ladies mostly are affected, if I'm correct, right? So let me just say this to you ladies, please. If the guy always just wants to, hey, let's go and chill, let's Netflix and chill all the time, and you ask him, okay, so where are we going to, and he just says, no, just moves away, right? So you want to be careful about that. That's a red flag. You want to begin to be cautious, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Another point is when whoever you're with is emotionally unpredictable. Hell, you can't even tell what to get them upset.
Yeah.
You can't even tell, nothing you ever do makes them happy or satisfied. That is a red flag. They are always upset about one thing or the other. They just have emotional outbursts for no reason. Love should be gentle.
Yep.
It
should be kind.
It should be kind. Think about it. We don't want emotionally unpredictable and unstable people. No.
I feel like most people or people that fit into this category just lack emotional maturity. Yeah. You get, where they are not able to balance their emotions. So they want to, for instance, someone had a bad day at work and then goes out with his date or her date and then transfers the aggression of that came from the workplace over to the person, and you can't just understand, all I just asked you is, did you want coffee or did you want tea? And the person says, we've been with me for 3 weeks, you still don't know what I like. Okay, I just asked a question, or baby, it was just a question, you get. So we want to observe those emotional instability, all right? The person's
very little things. I was with someone at some point in time in my life, and then something very little happened, and he just took it out on me and like, you can't even do this, you can't even do that, and I'm like, okay, if your partner makes a mistake, there is a way to correct the person in love, not shouting. Like shouting, who doesn't know that shouting doesn't really get anything? It just makes someone feel like you don't love them, or you don't understand who they are, or something. It doesn't bring more love.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't bring more love. So that for me was a red flag, because I can't tell when you're like, we can't even tell what to upset you. We have to
walk on eggshells.
Eggshells. So any small thing we do, we gotta restore the balance in that relationship.
It doesn't work that way now.
It could be very, very frustrating, because you'll be walking on eggshells. You'll be asking, and funniest thing is that people who go through this, that's the victims. They now try to, in fact, they expand themselves
to please
the other person.
And it's tiring. Let them say the real truth
it's
is
very
you if someone is not satisfied with themselves, right? If someone has an internal problem, there's nothing you can do to solve that person's problem. Even if you cut off your hand, the person will still not be satisfied. So you just want to stay away completely from that.
Yes. So you end up expanding yourself, and you really don't want that.
So yeah, that's a red flag, right? So when you begin to observe that the person is emotionally unstable, and let me just clarify here, we're not talking, there's a place for being vulnerable emotionally, all right? But vulnerability is different from emotional instability, where when you're vulnerable, you express your current emotions to the person, and the person knows that you're not taking out these emotions on him or her, but you're just expressing how you feel at the moment. But when you're unstable, you're directing every emotion, good, bad, ugly, everything at the person. That is a risk. That's too risky. Yes, please.
I like the next point.
All right.
This one I'm about to mention, guys, is very interesting. Like someone I know will say, "Na obunge." All right, I'm just joking. There's so many sides to me. When the relationship isn't defined, your friends don't even know what to call you people.
You know what they call situationships. Exactly.
You can't even explain it yourself.
Yeah.
You're in an entanglement.
Well, my sister, my brother.
This one is a big deal. In fact, what happens is that this one, why it's so annoying is that the other person who wants to be serious will bring it up in a conversation.
Yeah,
right?
most likely, which is for, I don't know, women. Women are the ones who would most likely bring this up more than a man. I'm not saying that men would, there are not some serious men who would do this. But it's mostly women that will say, "Oh, what are we doing, babe? What's going on? Like, define it. This kind of thing. Who am I to you? Yeah.
What are we doing?" Please, if there is no true definition of what that relationship is, what people are doing, it's a red flag. Your friends will see you guys are doing all the things that a couple would do. In fact, why some even pains me is that, especially for the women, they will not be doing wife duties like performing wife duties, and
yet he has never called you his girlfriend in public.
Never.
But he tells you, "Oh, you're the love of my life." But when you guys go out together, they ask, "Who is he?" You say, "Oh, she's my friend. She's just a friend."
No, this one, they're not like, no, babe. Do we need to see? Do we need anybody to tell us
who we are?
How do we need anybody to tell us what we mean to each other? Scam.
See, the truth is, right, just like the Bible says, that can two walk together except they agree? Meaning that the beginning of any relationship is a mutual agreement and understanding of for lack of a better word, of the terms of the relationship, right? So what that means is both parties are aware of who they are to each other. And see, to be honest, if you are just friends, let it be known that, see, we are just friends, okay? But if you bring up the conversation and say, "Okay, so these are, friendship or something, where is it taking us to?" And then the guy says, you're just so close to me. That is not an answer. You are close to me, it is not an answer. If he tells you, "But I love you," it is still not an answer. Are you asking me out to be your girlfriend, your fiance, or are you asking me out to marry you? Where are we going to? It's very important because sadly, people have spent years of their life in something they put their hope in, and especially, especially women tend to be more emotionally invested on the average than men. All right, so women giving their all, right, and because typically the guy is the head of the relationship or the head of the home, right? He provides leadership, so they want to know where they are going to, and once their emotions are involved, they typically give their all. It's going to be tragic to give your all for 3 years, 5 years, and then you just wake up one morning and the guy says, this thing, I'm not feeling it. What are you not feeling after 3 years or 5 years? And when she has done her best for you. Do you get what I'm saying? And it also happens both ways as well for the ladies. See, if ladies listen to me, if you are not interested in the guy, don't be spending his money. Don't be following him on expensive dates and trips, and he buys you expensive things, and he now asks you, so what are we? And you say, I'm still thinking about it. If you are thinking about it, pause the collection of gifts first of all. I mean, with all, how they say with your church mind, don't collect gifts yet. When you decide that okay, you want him to play this role in your life, a major role as your partner, then you can go ahead. You just be genuine and be open about conversations. And before you continue, babe, if you haven't brought up the conversation and it's been pending in your heart, please summon the courage and bring the conversation up. If someone threatens to leave you because you seek clarity, then already that is a red flag. You shouldn't be in that relationship. Nobody should feel threatened by a discussion that should bring clarity in the relationship.
I totally agree.
Just
don't be caged. And I would just add to what you really said about ladies. A lot of ladies are very fond of this, especially because they're like, the economy is going down and they're just looking for an easy way out, or you're looking for a man that just has money in his pockets. Please, if you're not interested in him, just let him be. Let him be. Let him find the person that is for him. Don't waste his time, waste his money. Some ladies are so mean that they won't even actually allow the guy to introduce them to family. And then before you know it, they take off and they'll be like, well, I just didn't know this thing. And babe, I have seen situations where the girl will now take the money that she has gotten for one person and give it to another guy.
Give it to her main guy. It's just crazy.
If you're doing this, please
stop. Have the fear of God in your heart.
Please stop.
If you don't have it in your heart, have it in your lungs. Have it somewhere.
Please stop, because true love is beautiful and you really want to experience it.
Okay.
At least once in your life.
Yeah, please.
Alright, on to the next. If you don't share the same values, this would frustrate you.
Again, let me quote what we just, a verse I mentioned earlier in Book of Lamentations. It says, can two walk together except they agree? Agreement here also means you are agreeing on the same values. Okay, you don't want. Again, I'm not encouraging if you're living outside of Christ. Please, this is a call for you to live in Christ. Okay, but it's very difficult when you are living in Christ and then the other person is living outside of Christ and anything flies. They can do anything and all of that, and you still feel, oh yeah, he's a nice guy, but he's not that bad. At least he goes to church once in a quarter. And then you say, we can manage, I can preach to him. See, if at the point where you guys meet, right, your values are not in agreement and it doesn't seem like you can work towards an agreed value, please don't waste your time. Again, what binds people together really are their values. Ask anybody, even in businesses. Let's say we put relationship aside, just even in business relationships and why companies go into partnerships with others, it's values. Values is the basis of our relationship. All right, so you want to make sure that both of you have shared values. You might not be how to put it, a verbatim question. You can say, okay, bros, tell me your values. Sister, make I know your values. You might not have it that way. The best way to know people's values is through their actions, not just what they say. Okay, one person may say, I believe in integrity, but the next moment he's doing something that doesn't portray that. So observe their actions, make sure your values are intact. And if you want to have a conversation, please, by all means, bring it up, but just make sure your values are intact before you decide to proceed further in that relationship or into a relationship.
We were recently watching a movie and then the guy says, don't worry, you can't you can just take small out of your mother's money.
Oh,
it will not be much of a problem.
Yeah.
And her true value is the integrity. Her true value is, I should not steal. But the person she was with was encouraging her to steal. Then she should know that that's a red flag.
Yep, that's a red
There's
flag.
conflict here. The person that you're with is not trustworthy. Every single time, say, don't worry, I will pay you back.
And he never does.
Nah. Then you know that there is already a problem. Okay? Or you like giving.
And
then the person doesn't even believe in giving at all. You know that if you eventually decide to marry that person, there's going to be a problem.
Serious problem, yeah.
So we're not even just talking about only just about God and going to church and all of that and serving God. Though that is a major part of life values, because if he or she gets it right with God, there are a lot of other things that will be sorted out around them. Sure. So but just check out, even how they relate. Some people don't believe that you should be friends with people in your office. So they believe that you should be competing with everybody that you're working with.
So in fact, they believe that when someone starts getting close to you, the person has bad motive. So you must find a way to do the person first before the person does you.
Exactly.
And
and so you can imagine. So that's why he was saying that it's not like you just can start asking yourself, so what is your value? What's your thing? You would, by the time you have conversations, real conversations, real life talk, and you also get into some certain situations with that person, you would realize what their true values are. I'm just asking you to look out, evaluate this person like all round, okay? Not just have one look and say, but he's okay. Like at least he sends me text messages every 2 hours.
Beyond that, it's beyond that. And one of the best times to see people's values manifest is when they are under pressure. Whether financial pressure from work, pressure from family, whatever kind of pressure, observe the way they act under pressure. It gives you to a 95-degree accuracy of their values. It tells you what these people really, really value. You get what I'm saying? Please just observe them under pressure, their normal life. You'll know their values. And please, if you see that your values do not align, even if the emotions are there, all right, even if this baby is so beautiful, but you know that, for instance, maybe God has called you to be a pastor, or maybe God has called you to children's ministry, and this babe doesn't want you to do children's ministry. She just wants you to accept every time. She wants to be going out with you, and she won't allow you to do the things that are important to your life. You just just tell her that, okay, I understand you, but we cannot just work together because my values are this way. All right, it's super comforting to have someone who shares the same value with you. It makes the journey of life super easy. All right,
I agree.
Yeah,
totally. Another red flag. Everyone that genuinely cares about you expresses some kind of discomfort about the relationship you're in for genuine reason. This is a red flag. Because truthfully, everyone who genuinely cares about you cannot gang up against you to say that this is your relationship. They don't hate.
I mean, they all can't be bad belles.
They all can be bad belles now. I mean, you're good. I mean, I want to believe that those who genuinely care about you are good people. Yes, and they will not all just gang up against you. So if person A is saying this about your relationship, person B says this and is similar, person C, it's just a call to evaluate.
I have a friend. She was in a relationship with one guy, and her best friend said, this guy, I don't like him. And this is her best friend that they've been friends for a long while. And she says, this guy, I don't like him. But she said, no, don't lie. She gave excuses. Her sister said, this guy, I don't like him. Her sister's husband too said, her mother said, everybody said, including me, I said, this guy. But who am I?
Who are you?
And eventually, it was sad story, but eventually the relationship had to end, after like some years of dating, and eventually she experienced, unfortunately, what everyone had noticed beforehand. So what I was saying is, of course, people wouldn't make the decision for you. We agree, it's your life, no doubt. But what we're saying is, the people around you that have cared for you, that have been genuine to you,
Yes.
that are good people, if a vast majority of them raise an eyebrow about the relationship, then we think you should give it a second thought.
Yeah.
We're not saying you just automatically discard it all,
course
but I'm
not.
saying just give it a second thought. There might be something they are seeing that you're not seeing, because emotions are very tricky. Those the chemicals that flow in the body when emotions are high are very, very tricky. All right, they can blur your vision and dampen your objectivity. So you just want to take note. If 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 they are all saying something you're not comfortable, take a step back. Probably delay the progress of that relationship so that you can gain clarity before moving forward. Okay, and if you decide to move forward, let it be that you move forward with all your eyes open and you're ready to bear whatever consequences. You got what I mean?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one.
Okay.
This, I don't know how to emphasize how important this is. If you're with a person that does not submit to authority, no mentor, it's a problem. Very big problem, because the person doesn't have anyone in his or her life that can call him to order, that can say, this thing that you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
Nobody, see, there is nobody, no matter your age, nobody should be above correction. Like nobody. You must submit to somebody. There's nobody that should be above correction, okay? So because without mentorship, people make unnecessary mistakes.
Unnecessary mistakes, very true.
When I was much younger, I dated someone and I just realized that we started having some kind of issues in our relationship. And the issue we're having was not even because we were fighting as such. It was because I was noticing that his behavior was changing. That he began to follow some kind of people, and then he was not just taking his education seriously. So I was noticing, like, there were several things I was noticing, right? Pride included.
Number one.
I went to, so there was someone who I really revered back then, and I said, please, can you talk to my boyfriend for me, that I'm not understanding the way he's behaving and he's not listening to me and things are changing, and the way I'm seeing him, like, it feels like he's just going to go down like this, and at the end of the day, because it will get to a point where both of you will no longer be able to cope.
True.
And because I loved him, I wasn't ready to get to that point, so I was doing all that I could to save the relationship. Guys, would you believe that several times my mentor, it wasn't really it was okay, so it was someone I really respected, so let me just call him one of my mentors. He was my mentor spiritually at that time, and my boyfriend that time refused to go and see him. Like, he's like, I don't need anybody, I'm okay, there's nothing wrong with me, there's nothing, like, how, in fact it now became a problem. How could you discuss our relationship to somebody else? I was like, no. So it was like I went into details on every single thing that I did, but I just realized that he needed a male figure at that time to mentor him, to help him navigate his life journey. But he took it out on me, and of course, what do you think happened? We eventually broke up. So having a mentor is significant because it shows that the person is humble enough to submit to authority. It shows that the person isn't proud, and pride does nothing good for a relationship. That you should know. So in relationship or not, you should have people to learn from, whether it's in business, whether it's in your career, whether it's education. Learn. I believe that as I grew older, that's one thing I realized. I was now wishing that it was something I started doing since. Always try to learn from people. So, like, humble yourself to learn. You're never above learning. You don't stop learning. The day you stop learning, you start
declining.
Dying.
Let me say, there's a way someone puts it, I had to write it down. It says that he that doesn't submit to authority does not deserve authority. And this is really true. The way God designed the world is that for us to effectively exercise authority, we need to submit to authority in some way. And just like you said, right, when people who don't submit to authority have a higher chance of making terrible mistakes in life. And the truth is, if you're in a relationship with such a person, or you intend going to a relationship with such a person, you are the first victim of the person's wrong decisions, or the first victim of the person's flaws and all that mentorship could have avoided. So don't be in a relationship with someone who doesn't have authority figure over his or her life. We hear a girl say, I'm an independent lady, and I mean, there's a positive part of that. I'm just saying that sometimes people say that to mean that they are really tyrants, that there's nobody that can talk to them. People just say, I can do anything I want. And worst off is when the person has money and the person is very comfortable. The person feels like, I don't need anybody, I'm okay, I'm all by myself, I'm fine. That's really dangerous. Especially for the guys, all right? The man, again, is the head of the home. And he's the one that provides leadership and general oversight over the home, over the family, over the relationship. When a man doesn't submit to authority and doesn't have an authority figure, I can tell you for granted that it is easy for the enemy to introduce so many things. There's a saying that goes this way: absolute power corrupts absolutely. So when someone feels he can do anything, it's just a matter of time. He literally will do anything, and you'll be the victim of anything he does. Yes. Okay, so you really want to make sure, ask the person. See, to be honest, ask candid conversations. Who just in the case so that we are fighting, in case that your head touch, put it that way. In the case that your head is doing square, who can I talk to that can call you to order? If the person might say, oh, talk to my dad, talk to my mom, talk to my cousin or my uncle. I have this elder person, or my mentor in business, or maybe a spiritual father or something. He should have someone that can call him to order. All right. Again, I'm not saying you take the details of your relationship and always talk about it. No, that's immaturity. What we're saying is let the person have someone that he submits to, and then both of you can mutually submit to. Yes. It is super important. My pastor said one time that men who have mentors, again, I'm emphasizing on men because they are the head of the family, right? So men who have mentors have a higher chance of succeeding in marriage, and this is absolutely true. Check it. Most of the men who are misbehaving, let me put it that way, they do not have good mentors. There's people that teach them and that caution them and say, hey, the way you are going, the way you are smiling with every girl like this in your office, don't careful. They don't have people that can call them to order like that. So you want to observe. And same thing also for the ladies as well. Right? She should have someone that she respects that can tell her, see, you cannot talk to a man like that. You cannot be dressing like this or be acting like that. Just someone that is an authority figure. It is super important. And if there's no authority figure in the person's life, and the person is not willing to have an authority figure, you know that your jogging shoes, go and wait and start running.
And start running, no. Pick your legs.
And run, yeah.
Like, pick your legs. I mean, it's... pick race, alright? So the last point that I'm going to make today is when the person you're with is extremely secretive about their past. I am not saying withholding information that is sensitive, because as you go in a relationship, trust builds and all of that. That happens. That's different. You're just not going to spill everything about your life all at once, right? As you grow in your relationship with someone, the person will get to know more about you. But the moment that you mention, okay, so what happened? Maybe like, for example, you met someone now, and I person say, oh, hey, this person, but you notice that there was something like almost like a chemistry between that person and person. Now, so what's up? Where did you meet this person? Don't talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. Or the person is ashamed of where they came from, their background, they're secretive about it. Like, there's no shame in it. If it's that's why past is past.
Exactly.
Present is present. That's it. Past is past. If you made mistakes in the past, you made it, but are you owning up to your mistakes? So don't be secretive about your past. In fact, I was with this guy that could not even tell me that he had siblings. I didn't even know who his siblings were. I didn't even know the name of his mother. Like, can you imagine? Like, why would you be secretive about such things? Like, what am I going to do? Am I going to eat their names or something? I would even ask, like, so what about the girls you dated in the past? Just because, not everybody had, like, a long list of girlfriends, but some people did, right? And some people had long list of boyfriends as well. And well, it has happened. Happened.
Yeah,
move on, right? But sometimes I was just asking, so what about your past relationship? How did you handle this? And the only reason I'm asking is not because I wasn't asking because I was jealous. I just wanted to hear, for lack of a better word, here gist. Hear gist, but not only hear gist, but just hear the person's experiences, see if I could relate to it. Just, you want that connection to whoever you're with.
Yeah.
That's why the fact that sometimes you guys will even come from two different backgrounds. When I mean, like, person is from south, another person is from north, two different backgrounds, some rich, some poor, some middle class, some all of that is irrelevant as long as both of you decide that this is what you want, who you're going to be with. But don't be secretive about your past. Share. You know why? Like, the past, it sort of gives us a window to look.
Yes.
To look at. Like, we just peep and say, oh, that was who you were. This is who you are. Because, there's sometimes there are ways that people have acted in the past that make oh, these are decisions they made. It's either that they have improved on who they are,
or they're deteriorating,
or they're the same way, and you want to just have an eye, because just having that conversation. And what I found out was that when people are secretive about their past, this does not allow for clear and effective communication in a relationship.
True.
It does not allow them to have effective communication, because then you're always trying to withhold information, and unconsciously, even when the person has important things they're doing, withhold information. Imagine like a wife. I remember that I was watching a movie one day. I know that sometimes you say it's just movie, but movies actually portray what happened in real life a lot, especially Nigerian movies. They don't even know with that word. I watched a movie one day and the lady asked her husband's PA, so where's your guy? He said, ma, he's in Abuja. And the wife was like, he's in Abuja.
And so in fact I remember the movie because the woman now said, oh, let me call him, and his number wasn't going through, and the PA now said, oh, let me call his other number. And the wife said, oh, he has another number. I'm like, what is going on here? So to be honest, you want to just be careful. Again, remember, these are red flags, right? Red flags doesn't necessarily mean you should end the relationship immediately, but it gives cause for concern. It means, okay, let's start talking about, let me observe more, and if possible, to avoid any doubts, right, and for benefit of doubt, let me have this conversation with this person. Okay, so what I was saying is, if the person is just too secretive, and just like you said, rightfully, as intimacy grows, vulnerability also grows with that. Okay, so don't expect someone to tell you his whole life on the first day or the first month. No, that won't happen. But I'm just saying that when you notice a pattern of secrecy, anything you ask, the person waves it or stylishly changes the conversation or diverts the attention to something else, you just want to be careful, right? Because many times when people are this secretive, it's either they haven't dealt with a part of their lives, right, and they are just really hiding it, or they are currently doing something that they don't want you to even know about. I'm not saying you should become suspicious, but I'm just saying it does happen. So if someone is extra secretive, the proof of intimacy is really vulnerability. You are not, and I saw someone posted on Instagram the other day, and I totally agree that intimacy is not just sex. Like, even when people get married, intimacy is not defined really by sex. People can be having sex and not be intimate. They can still hide and shield parts of their life. The real proof of intimacy is vulnerability. Can the person tell you, okay, maybe they've had scars or things in their past? Can they open up in due time? I'm not saying at once, I'm just saying in due time. Can they open up and share those parts with you? All right. So if you notice that secrecy, first month, second month, 1 year, third year, you still don't know, you want to begin to have conversations and be cautious about it. All right. I hope this helps. Want to end with one last thought that I just want to talk about, in conclusion, that aside these red flags, right, you might actually meet someone who is really good. You are both good. I mean, the person is good, whether a guy or a lady. You guys are good, but it is not a guarantee that you should be in a relationship with each other. All right. So there might not even be a red flag. You might just notice that you know how they say we're not compatible. He is good or she is good. You guys are fine, but you are not just the best fit for a relationship. All right. I think at that point you really need a whole lot of honesty and courage to tell yourself the truth. That all right, we are we are good people, but we are not the best for a relationship. So take for instance, you go to a shopping mall.
Yeah.
You look at a very wonderful designer shirt.
Ooh.
Let's say you're a lady. You are a size 8. You say a very wonderful designer shirt, but the dress now is in size 12.
Mm-hmm.
You are good. The dress is good,
Yes.
but you both are not matched for each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's the same way in relationship. You might meet someone who is excellent, ticks all the boxes, but it might not necessarily mean you'll be in a relationship. So if you are in such situation, you just want to be honest with yourself and have a candid conversation with the person and say, hey, see, I think you're an awesome person. I think I'm great. You know, we share a lot in common. We share values and all, but I don't think moving forward will be best fit for a relationship. And you guys can, talk it out.
Yes.
All right?
I totally agree. I hope you learned something today and you enjoyed this conversation.
Yep.
Please, if you're in a relationship that is toxic or has any of these signs, or you're just even starting out something with someone and you haven't gotten into a relationship yet, but you see any of these signs, please evaluate it as soon as possible.
Please do so. Okay, I hope you've subscribed to our YouTube channel and you've liked this video.
Yes.
Okay, if you haven't done that, you can do that right away.
Yeah.
And if you haven't listened to the previous video that we released, please do so. It's right on our YouTube channel. All right, thanks for hanging out with us. We are the Agape. Oh, I'm Victor.
No, he's Emily. Say,
I was going to say Emily.
He loves me so much. Yes.
I am Victor and
I'm Emily.
Thank you for hanging out with us.
Yes.
See you in our next video.
Bye.
Bye.